Hi everyone, in today's lesson I will give you a revision on section 7.4, and for the yellow box, these are the questions that you can do before the section quiz. So section 0.4 is about the graph of log functions. Okay, so the first thing I want to remind you is the graph of y equals to log x with base a, where a is greater than 1. Okay, the graph look like this. Okay, and I can give you an example. For example, it is y equals to log x with base 3. Okay, then if I change the base into a smaller values, let's say 2, okay, the graph will look taller, okay, like this. Okay, let's say y equals to log x with base 2. Okay, and then I can change the base into a larger value, let's say 8. Then this time the graph will becomes flatter, like this. Okay, and it is y equals to log x with base 8. Okay, so from these three curves, you can see if I change the base from a smaller value into a larger values, okay, the shape will change in this way. Okay, also in these three curves, you can see they all intersect and they all pass through one point. So this is 1, 0. Okay, when we put log 1, okay, it must become 0. The second thing I want to remind you is the graph of y equals to log x with base 1 over a. So in this case, the base is a fraction and the graph look like this. Okay, so I can give you an example, that is y equals to log x with base 1 over 3. Then I can change the base from 1 over 3 to 1 over 2, and the graph will look taller, like this. Okay, and it is y equals to log x with base 1 over 2. Okay, then I can also change the base from 1 over 3 to a smaller value, 1 over 8. Okay, and the graph will look flatter. Okay, so again, for these three curves, it all passes through one point, that is 1, 0. The third thing I want to remind you is the reflection between y equals to log x with base a and y equals to log x with base 1 over a. They reflect each other. So you can take a look of the graph. Okay, if one of the graph is y equals to log x with base 3, then its reflection is y equals to log x with base 1 over 3. Okay, and where is the axis of reflection? And that is the x-axis. And we will call it as y equals to 0, and it is the axis of reflection. Okay, that means the mirror. So the fourth thing I want to remind you is the reflection between y equals to log x with base a and exponential function y equals to a to the power x. Okay, so again, if one of the curve is y equals to log x with base 3, okay, its reflection will become y equals to 3 to the power x. But be careful, this time the axis of reflection is here, okay, and it is y equals to x. The second part of section 7.4 is solving log equations graphically, and I will demonstrate one example in your classwork, that is question 55. So in the question, the figure shows the graph of y equals to log x with base 4. In A1, it asks you to find the value of log 3.5 with base 4. So as we can see, the base in the question is 4. That is same as the base using in the graph. So therefore, we can directly look at the value 3.5, and we know that x is equals to 3.5. Then we have to make use of the graph. So x is equals to 3.5 is here. And we have to draw a vertical line until it reaches the green line. Afterwards, we have to draw a horizontal line to see the corresponding value of y. And we can get the answer 0.9. Therefore, from the graph, x is equals to 3.5. The corresponding value of y is equals to 0.9. Then for A2, it asks you to find the value of log 1.8 with base 1/4. So as you can see, the base in the question is 1/4 instead of 4. Therefore, we have to change the base into 4. So first, we separate log 1.8 with base 4 using the properties, so that we have log 1.8 over log 1/4. Then we can change 1/4 into 4 to the power -1. Afterwards, the power -1 can put it in front of the log. And we have log 1.8 over negative log 4. And we will group log 1.8 over log 4 again, so that we have negative log 1.8 with base 4. So therefore, now we have the base 4, and we can directly use the value 1.8, and we have x is equals to 1.8. And go back to the figure. Okay, so for 1.8, we can draw a vertical line, and afterwards draw a horizontal line, and we can see the results. That is 0.4. Okay, so from the graph, when x is equals to 1.8, we know that y is equals to 0.4. Okay, so for negative log 1.8 with base 4, that is negative 0.4. Then let's take a look of part B. So it asks you to solve the equations graphically. So in B1, we have log x with base 4 equals to negative 0.8. So in this question, the base using is 4. That is consistent with the base using in the graph. That means we don't have to change it. Then we can directly look at the value negative 0.8. And this time, this is the value of y, and y is equals to negative 0.8. Okay, so go back to the graph. For y equals to negative 0.8, that is here. This time we first draw a horizontal line until it reaches the green line, and then we look at the corresponding value of x. And this time the value is 0.3. Then we can answer the question from the graph. For y equals to negative 0.8, x is equals to 0.3. Then let's take a look of part B2. In this question, we have 5 log x with base 1/4 plus 3 equals to 0. And we will first put all the numbers back into the right hand side so that we have log x with base 1/4 equals to negative 3/5. Okay, so now we can consider the base, that is 1/4, and it is different from the base using in the graph. Okay, so that means we have to change the base 1/4 into 4 using the same technique. Okay, so that we have negative log x with base 4. Okay, and finally, we put the negative sign to the right hand side. And we have log x with base 4 equals to 3/5. And for the value of 3/5, that is 0.6. That means we know that y is equals to 0.6. Okay, then let's go back to the figure. So for y equals to 0.6, okay, again we construct a horizontal line. Okay, then we take a look of the corresponding value of x, that is 2.3, and therefore from the graph for the y equals to 0.6, x is equals to 2.3. Then finally, I will talk about question 57, part A. Okay, in this question, it asks you to rewrite the given relationship in the form of log w with base 4 equals to ft. Okay, so we'll start with w equals to 4 times 0.4 to the power t. So our first step, we will take log on both sides. Okay, but be careful, we are taking log using the base 0.4. Okay, so for the left hand side we just keep it, but for the right hand side we can separate the things in the bracket using the property of logarithms, so that we have log 4 with base 0.4 plus log 0.4 to the power t with base 0.4. Okay, and afterwards we can put the power t back in front of the log, so that we have log w with base 4 equals to log 4 with base 0.4 plus t log 0.4 with base 0.4. So as you can see, log 0.4 with base 0.4, okay, so they are the same value, and therefore we know that the value of it is 1. and we can write the final answer. That is log W with base 0.4 equals to log 4 with base 0.4 plus t times 1, that is t. Then we finish part A.